Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you all here. It has been an action-packed 3 days, a lot of talks, a lot of communication, a lot of networking. So it was super amazing, and I can't really believe that we are getting to the end of it. It has been an amazing event. So I would like to start by thanking all of you here, also for the people watching the stream. Thank you very much. I would like to thank Besides Las Vegas for hosting me here today. But more importantly, I would like to thank Besides Las Vegas for the proving ground, because the first time I ever spoke publicly was in 2020, remotely in the proving ground of Besides Las Vegas. And since then, it has been great in speaking. So thank you for having this. So for our talk today, we will be having breaking the guest list, hacking invitation systems for fun and profit. So without further ado, let's go right in. So a bit of who am I? I'm Ali. I'm originally from Cairo, Egypt. On some platforms, I'm also known as Logic Breaker, so you can find me there. I'm a security and privacy engineering lead at Bending Spoons. I have been bug hunting for almost 10 years now. And I'm very security enthusiastic about everything related to security in general. I have been a speaker at Besides, several Besides conference across many countries, spoke at Black Hat before. I really love the community, sharing with the community, so here we are. One thing that I also really love is business, security, and the intersection between them. And this is actually the topic of today. It's how business and security interplay together. It's not about cross-site scripting. It's not about SQL injection. It's about understanding the business model, bisecting it, and breaking it, more or less. So let's go. So for those of you who don't know, quick introduction about business logic vulnerabilities. So business logic vulnerabilities are basically a type of vulnerability that appear due to the discrepancy between how developers and maintainers develop stuff versus how attackers perceive the application, more or less. So the peculiar thing about business logic, and actually it's why AI still needs us more or less, is it's really dependent on two things. First of all, the mindset of the person developing the application, but also the mindset of the attacker looking into the application. So everybody had their own methodology, but we are trying here to extrapolate some common themes when it comes to invitation systems. So just to give you an example before we dive into invitation systems regarding business logic vulnerabilities. Let's take, for example, two applications. The first is a data-intensive application, like, for example, a data processing environment, Databricks, for instance. The most important thing in Databricks is, come on, the data. I mean, this is their core value. So as an attacker, probably if I would like to compromise Databricks, what I would like to do is that I would like to do this to get the data, right? I mean, this is the actual value of the application. Now, let's take a look at another application, which is basically AI-based. It stores no data. It just, for example, generate images based on some image that you provided. So you provide an image, it provides you an avatar for you, for example. And it does it ephemerally, so no data storage. As an attacker, when I approach such an application, what I would think of is, okay, how can I abuse the GPUs behind this very nice AI application to generate stuff for free? Maybe, for example, to use it and resell the service at a reduced price. So you can see two applications, both of them are software, web applications or mobile applications, doesn't really matter. And yet the threat model is substantially different. And having a one size fits all for everything, unfortunately, doesn't work out. So, invitation systems. What are we basically talking about? We are talking about any kind of invitation system, and we will see here that it really doesn't matter. It can be an invitation system to a Facebook group. It can be an invitation system to a B2B application. So any application that operates in the B2B business, you'll probably have a team or an enterprise subscription where you can add seats so that you collaborate with people, because, I mean, you don't operate alone. And you need to send them, guess what, invitation. So this is invitation systems here as well. And the core purpose of the talk is that we will see that regardless of the type of the invitation system, the mistakes are the same. The way to secure them is more or less the same, of course, taking into account some peculiarities of applications. But again, it boils down to basically the same thing. So why invitation systems? On the left, you can see the invitation template, basically from Facebook to invite people to Facebook groups. On the other side, you see inviting members to Snapchat business accounts. And the question is, why invitation systems? Like, I mean, why should we care? Because it's very ubiquitous. Like nowadays, social media strives on people sharing with each other, inviting each other either to groups, to the social media application or whatever. So this is how they grow. Again, if you're in a B2B company or you use any B2B software, you probably know that you have seats and you invite people to join your application. So the ubiquity of this makes this flow very common, and yet the same mistakes happen over and over again. So why is it, why is it interesting, an invitation system? Because it is what we call, it's very easy to use, but also trivially to abuse in this case. So why this? It's due to the discrepancy between how the developers perceive stuff versus how the hackers perceive the same stuff or the application itself. So just to take an example, email tokens are secure enough. I'm a developer. I'm developing an invitation system. I have invitations via email. I add a token and I say, okay, this is a very long token. Nobody can guess it. Guess what? They probably can. It really depends. So, for example, if you generate a hash of the user email and this is the invite, come on, they can still generate it. It doesn't mean that because it looks random, it's actually random. Maybe you have a token which is very short, like, a 4-character token or a serial number, like basically invitation is invitation 1, invite 2, invite 3. So just because something looks that random, it doesn't mean that it's actually random in this case. One-time links. So you as a developer, I develop, for example, an invitation to a Facebook group. I assume that it's intended for X. Only X will be able to use it, and only X should be actually using it, right? This is not how it works as well. Like, I will try to take the invitation, load it into many accounts as much as I can, see if this allows me to gain access to basically more stuff. So gain access to adding people to the group more than a single person, as we will see in one of the attacks. So just because you have an assumption, if you don't do the technical realization, if you don't do the technical controls that support this, it will actually not work for you. The biggest sin in development is assuming that UI controls protect you. It doesn't, believe me. No. So UI does not enforce security controls. You can't rely on it just because you think that the application is designed in a specific way externally. People will not follow it. If the API still allow them to do something, they will do it. Because, the APIs, come on, they are public. You can look into the developer's portal, you will see them, and it's end game. So there is no point. The final thing about this assumption, and we can go to hundreds of assumptions, but for the sake of time, which is invitations are isolated per user. Like, I invite X, the invitation will not work in Y. Unless you do something about it, guess what? It will, as we will see. So the difference in perception causes a huge gap, as we will see in the attacks ahead. So before we go into the actual exploits, let's do a quick exercise together and try to look into this invite. So the invite goes as follows. We have an HTTPS, example.com. Okay, nice. They use HTTPS. Nobody can intercept their traffic. Assuming they use it correctly. But then the interesting part starts. We have 4 query parameters. We have group ID, sender ID, member type, and token. And how I would actually approach such an invite is that, first of all, I will ask myself the following questions. So group ID, nice. First of all, it's a numeric ID. So probably the groups are sequential. That's nice because I don't need to do effort to guess the group ID. Nice. It's not an issue on its own, but the next thing I will try, what happens if I change the group ID from 1 to 3 to, say, 1 to 4? Am I able to join another group? If so, this is actually a big problem because I'm joining groups that I was never invited to, I have no access to, but guess what? If there is no validation, I can. The sender ID. So back in the day, there was a social media platform. I don't recall exactly which one, but when you joined, it tells on your profile that you were invited by X. So let's assume that X is the CEO of a very important company and the sender ID is not checked. So instead of 345, I just add the ID of this very important person. It will appear on my profile that I was invited to the platform by this person. Maybe they have a valid account, meaning that it's very well known. And I can take it from there to tell them, okay, I know this very important person, he's my friend, and then maybe I can use it for spam, for phishing, for whatever. In fact, I mean, it's an integrity problem by itself. It's just how you want to exploit it. And then we go to member type. Okay, nice. Member type 2. That's super interesting. What happens if we put member type 0 or 4? Do I get an admin privilege? Do I get a super admin privilege? Maybe. Again, if this is not checked, we are back at it. And then the last and actually the most interesting one is the token. The token here, it can have all sorts of problems. So first of all, it can be guessable, like you are hashing the email or the timestamp, for example. It can be very short. For example, a numeric token, which is 6 digits, I can just enumerate it. It's not a problem. It can be that the token can be replayed, so it does not expire. So all sorts of problems can happen with the token. So, I mean, there is quite a lot of things that can happen here. So I know what you have been thinking. I mean, I have been talking for 10, 15 minutes, no exploits yet. It's pretty boring. We will get into the interesting stuff now. By the way, at the end, you will have all the slides. So, I mean, you don't need to take pictures. You just can focus here and you will be able to download them if you want. So let's start. And the first exploits for today is once friends, always friends. And actually, the name more or less leaks what we will be talking about. Maybe something about friendships on Facebook. We will see. So back in the days before, so when Meta was Facebook and Alphabet was Google in this case, so around 2015, Facebook was still in the growing phase. So it had a feature in which you can basically invite people to join the platform. So my friend is not on Facebook. So I send them an invite to join facebook.com. And with the invite, once actually they accept the invite, not only do they join the platform, but they also become my friend. So they also become my friend, which is very sensible when you think about it. Like, I mean, I'm inviting you to a platform probably because I want you to be my friend. So 2 for 1, everybody's happy. So very interesting. So until now, everybody's happy. Somebody invites someone to Facebook, they join Facebook, and they become friends. Voila, no worries. The problem starts later. What if my friend does not become my friend anymore? Like, I mean, they turn to be malicious. I want to unfriend them. I mean, come on, life happens. So in this case, I mean, I unfriended them, done, right? I mean, it should be as easy as this. However, the invitation that you sent maybe a few years ago will still haunt you. I mean, past mistakes does not go unnoticed. So what the attacker or basically the bad friend who was invited years ago can do, they can go to their email, click on the same invite, and guess what? They can return to be friends again because the invite still works. It will return them to be your friend, and that's it. So you don't need to do anything. Just go to your email, add them as a friend. And no matter how many times they unfriend you, you can go to the invitation, re-add them as a friend. That's it. I mean, it's that simple, really. But now, I mean, I see some of you, you're talking, okay, but maybe I can block them, right? I mean, why don't I just block them if they are this malicious? It's not that easy. So the idea is as follows. First of all, as I told you, the malicious friend can do this trick as many times as they want. You unfriend them, they return back. But think about another part of the story. They also can unfriend you. So the flow can go as follows. I, as a malicious friend, I will add myself to your friend list, maybe send you a message or see your friends only post or whatever. And then I will unfriend you. And later I want to be returning to your friend. I'll just click on the invite and do it again and again. But then to answer the people thinking about, okay, but they can block me. Back in the days, Facebook didn't have any abuse prevention against the block feature, meaning that you can block and unblock the same person as much as you want. So there is no limit. Now there is a limit, I think, of 24 or 48 hours, something like that. So what you can do is that you can take the first step as a malicious friend. You can block the person so that they can block you. So I, as a malicious friend, what I will do is that I will block you. I want to see your friends only post. I will unblock you, add you as a friend using the invite, see your friends only post or send you a message, and then block you again. And guess what? If I block you, you can't block me. This is life. So that's it. Basically, even the block feature was not able to prevent this. And the invite, as far as I know, never expires. So a very bad situation, I would say. So this is what the one that we're discussing, sorry. This is about the block feature. Okay, so let's do some reflections. Like, I mean, what did Meta did wrong here that caused this problem? So we can attribute this to at least 3 elements. First of all, the invites never expire. So it doesn't really matter if it is a few weeks or a year, the invite, as far as I recall, didn't expire, at least for a sufficiently long period that it's problematic. The invite actually should have expired even earlier, meaning that the invite should have expired once I accepted it back in the past. But this also didn't happen. So it's not a one-time use invitation, and invitations by nature should be one-time use. Unless, I mean, there is a reason why not to do so, but generally they should be a single-time use. And the last thing is that there was actually no mechanism to revoke the invitation. So I can't block you, I can't unfriend you because you will return again. And the invitation I sent years ago, I have no control over it. So, I mean, it's end game, basically. There's nothing that I can do. So let's jump to the second exploit for today. And it's called the Now You See Me. And we will see why, because, I mean, we will play some magic tricks in a second. It's also targeting Meta, by the way. So in this one, we are targeting another invitation flow, which is the groups invitation flow. And I mean, groups invitation flow have actually 2 ways. You can first invite your friend to join a Facebook group using their Facebook account. And this is not the flow we are interested in. We are more interested in the flow which invites people via email. So you send people an invitation via email, and then they can join your Facebook group. It should be simple, right? I mean, you send somebody an invitation. The invitation appear. I mean, let's assume that you are the admin. The invitation will appear here. Okay, you invited at gmail.com. There are very nice 3 buttons here that you can, 3 dots here that you can press on and delete the invite, which is also an upgrade from the previous attack where there was no way to revoke the invitation. So it's actually a good upgrade. Not so good. I can make the invite vanish. So here's the thing. This is the invite that I receive. And just to make sure that we are following up, in this case, we have one of 2 cases. First of all, I might be invited to the group and I'm the malicious person, or I'm the malicious actor. Or it can be that both, I mean, I'm the admin and I'm malicious and I'm exploiting this to gain basically persistent access to the group. We will see how in a second. So this is the shape of the invite. You get an invite telling you, okay, hey, X would like you to join them on Facebook, join the Besides Las Vegas group. Very nice. You click join group. You will be prompted with a thing telling you, okay, hey, do you want to join this group or not? If you would like to join, you press yes or you decline. Easy. And as we see in this slide, the invite is there in the admin panel. But here is the trick. We would like to make this invitation disappear. And once we make this invitation disappear, the admin loses control over the invite. It's super easy. You navigate to your email. You get the invitation link, which is basically the link behind the join group part. You get this URL, you copy it, and you paste it in the browser while you are logged in. So you don't accept the invite, you just load the invitation URL, nothing more. And the invitation vanishes. And that's it. So, I mean, there is nothing fancy. For some reason, when you load the invite and you didn't accept it yet, so you are not part of the group yet, the invitation will vanish from the admin panel. So basically, nobody can see it. So if you go to the admin panel, you will see that nobody's invited, although somebody is. And you haven't joined the group, so nobody can remove you because, I mean, you're not a member yet. So this provides us with an invitation which does not expire and nobody can revoke it. So what is the use case like? I mean, why should you care? So imagine this. Imagine this is a work group or a group which is secret or where confidential information is shared. And I'm the admin of the group now. I work in this group and I'm getting laid off. And I'm very malicious. I would like to persist access after my access is revoked. What I would do is that I will send the invite to one email that I own. I will play this trick so that the invitation is not visible. And now I have a backdoor in the group that I can join whenever I want. So whenever I click the invitation, loaded it, it's now there. I mean, nobody can remove it. And even after I got laid off or my access gets revoked, I can still go there and do this. Of course, this is malicious, it's illegal, but it's technically feasible. So this is how to play this one. And as we will see, this attack, we will go into rounds, meaning that we will go into the first exploit, Meta will solve it, we will bypass, and we keep doing this. It actually went up for 3 to 4 years, if I recall correctly. So actually what I told you is not enough. Like, I mean, I'm not satisfied, meaning that yes, I can use the invitation, yet the invitation is hidden, but inviting one person is lame. What if we take the invitation URL, load it in 10 accounts, 100 accounts? Can they all join? They shouldn't, but actually they do. Whenever you load the invitation URL before accepting it, you grant this account an invitation itself. So what you need to do, very simply, you copy the invitation URL from the email, you paste it in as many accounts as you want, and now all those accounts are actually invited. Nobody see this invitation, it's a ghost invitation, and they can all join the group at any given point. So I don't need many invitations, I just need an invitation to a single email, and I can distribute it as much as I want. And then all of them can accept whenever they want. So maybe account A will accept now, and then they will remove it. I will use B, I will use C, I will use F, whatever. I mean, I can have as many as I want. So this is actually very bad. And they solved it. So actually, Meta solved it by tying the invitation to an email. So now the invitation is directed to a single person. And they check if the email, meaning that if the invitation is directed to x@gmail.com, only x@gmail.com can join. It's a good approach, it appears. But, and here is the discrepancy between how the developers and how the attacker think in a thing. Okay, it's tied for the email. So what happens if I move the email around accounts? So as you know, in Facebook, you can have more than one email. So what happened is I have an email, for example, ali@gmail.com. I load the invite in ali@gmail.com. And then I remove ali@gmail.com from the Facebook account. The Facebook account still exists. I add it to another account. I load the invite. And I do the same over and over again. Guess what? It actually works. It actually works. Yes, they will allow me to do this. So basically, I can reproduce exactly the same effect by having a single mail, moving it between different accounts, loading the invite without accepting, and then all those accounts have the invitation active, and I can accept from whichever one whenever I want, and I can repeat this for as long as I want as well. They fixed this as well. But then I discovered something which is very interesting because it's very trivial, actually. What if you block all the admins of a specific group? Theoretically, it should be that they can send you messages, they can see your posts, but the cherry on top of that, they can also not see your invite. So if I create an invite directed to x@gmail.com, and then the account of x@gmail.com blocked every admin in the group, the invite becomes invisible to everybody. That's it. Super easy. But I was not satisfied. I mean, this was not enough. So let's play the end game. At some point, probably they get bored and they removed the wall feature. Now it's back, by the way. Like, I mean, this was around 2015, 2016. They removed the feature altogether. Like, I mean, there is no email invitation. If you want to invite somebody, you invite them using their account. But they didn't remove the API. So, I mean, guess what? We are back in the game. You just use the API, you send the invitation, and life goes on. So again, I mean, you're just back in the game because removing the UI is not enough to remove the wall feature, and we can re-exploit again and have fun. So what went wrong in this attack? Actually, quite a lot of things went wrong. So first of all, there is an overcomplication here where loading the invite have a very weird effect of making it invisible. I don't know really why it happens like so, but it seems that the invitation system is rather complex because when I think about it, the invitation should be either accepted, pending, or rejected. Loading the invite should not have an effect on how it appears or anything, basically. So this is the problem. Overcomplication is a big problem here. Invitations were not bound to a user attribute in the first round of this attack, meaning that any email can accept any invite sent to any other email, which allowed us to scale the attack easily. As you said, as you saw in round 2, it was not enough to bound to an attribute like email. It doesn't work. But it is something that you need to do. So it's necessary but insufficient, as they say. Invitations were not one-time use, so I can use it in many accounts, which is actually the major problem with how I can invite many users to the same group. By the way, this also, when you think about it, if there is group moderation, it means that me as a normal user who should not be able to invite people and they get automatically accepted, if the invitation I got was auto-approved by an admin, I now have admin privileges by sending out invitations and having people join it because I'm auto-approved. Like not full admin privileges, but yet I can exploit something that only admins should be able to have. The other thing, which is actually, I mean, I think that there have been many exploits in Meta and also several social media platforms regarding this. Moderation should not be blocked by a user action, meaning that if you block me, I can't message you, I can't see your content, that's fine. But as a group moderator, I need to be able to see your invites. I need to be able to see your posts, even just in this context. Otherwise, I can't moderate it. And the block becomes a weapon, more or less. And finally, stale APIs. Removing the UI is not sufficient to deprecate a feature. By the way, if you go to the OWASP API top 10, the mismanagement of inventory is on the top 10 list. Like, I mean, this is very common that you either don't deprecate APIs or you still leave older version which are vulnerable for a specific VPI. So it's pretty common, actually. And now with the last exploit, which is in Snapchat in this case. And just to be clear, here we are targeting Snapchat Business Manager. And this is an example of a B2B product, meaning that Business Manager is not intended for normal users. It's intended so that you can create ads, for example. So usually it's used by companies. You create an account, you invite your colleagues, and everybody's happy. And the title of this attack is One Invite to Block Them All. We will see why this in a second. So this is how the invitation looks like. Very simple. You have an email, you have a role, and invite member. So you just need to enter an email of the person you would like to invite. You add them a role. Back in the days, it was just member or admin. So very simple. And you invite them, and that's it. By the way, before we go further, I would like to tell you that here, just to be following up, the person being invited is the victim, while the invitee, basically the person who invites, is the malicious person. This is opposite to what we saw in the Meta's exploits. So here what happened is this invitation that I just saw you, it actually triggers 2 HTTP requests. The first one is a request that invites the user to join the organization. Like we will see in this request in a second. And then there is a second request which add the role. So there are 2 HTTP requests. The first, you just send the invitation email. The second, assign them to a role, which is member, admin, or whatever. So this is how the first invitation looked like. It's a very normal post request. You add their name, and then you add their email and the organization ID. And this actually sends the invite. But then there is another request which is triggered, which, okay, now you are a member. So there is a member ID. And then I assign you a role. Maybe it's a member, maybe it's an admin. It really doesn't matter at this point. The question is, what happens if I don't send the second request? Like, I mean, I invite you to join my organization, but I don't set you a role. And I mean, this from the UI, it's not possible because a single click will actually have two requests being sent. But again, I mean, there is Burp Suite, there is APIs. I will just intercept it, make the first request pass, and drop the second one. What will happen is this. Whenever the user who is invited log into their account, they will see this. Well, it's awkward, access denied. And you might say, okay, but why this is a problem? Because actually in Snapchat Business Manager, you can have more than one account, meaning that you can be, for example, from a totally different company, but just because I invited you and you joined or you clicked on the link that, the invitation link in this case, now you are not able not just to access my organization, it doesn't really matter, but also your organization. So you are blocked completely because the API will see, okay, you are not in a right state. You have a member in a specific organization with no role. I don't know how to act. I'm denying you access. I'm sorry. But this is not it. Some stuff made this attack even slightly more scalable. First of all, classic now, invitations were not bound to an email. So any invitation from any account can be used to add anybody to anywhere. There was no confirmation before you join the organization, meaning that when you load the invitation link sent to your email, there is nothing that tells you, hey, please confirm this invite or you want to join this organization. Once you click on the button on your email, you're automatically joined. We combine those two elements and we get a cross-site request forgery, meaning that I will send an invitation to a very random email. I will get the invitation URL, put it on my blog. Whenever you visit my blog, this invitation is loaded because it's a very simple GET request, and you are added to my account. Basically, you are removed from everything because now you denied access to everything. But this also allows me to scale the attack. I'm not just relying on you clicking the invitation sent to your email. Maybe you don't click on emails, you don't know, but it can even be distributed on websites so that once you visit the website, this request will be sent and you will be denied access. And Snapchat fixed the issue. But it was not enough. So basically what they did is that now you can't create a member without an associated role. You will not be allowed. So this will not be allowed anymore. So what we can do is as follows. We can invite a user and add the role because this is now mandatory, but we can delete the role after that. So it's really easy. Like, I mean, we can create, as we will see, there was an endpoint which can delete your role, and there is no API check that you can delete this role if it is maybe the only role remaining. So what I will do is that I will invite the user, I will add them a role, and then I will delete the role. And now the invitation is poisoned just like the first invitation. There is no difference. Like, I mean, there is no problem. And this can be exploited basically by any admin. By the way, admin is very simple. You create an account and then you are an admin of the account. So it's a free thing. You don't need to pay a penny for it. And it can be exploited against all members. And members here don't think that, I mean, it's actual members. What we mean here by members is that anybody who clicks on the link which you poisoned, the invitation link in this case. And this is basically the delete request, which deletes the role using the role ID. Very simple. And now, finally, we come to some reflections about this case. I mean, what made this case possible? First of all, there is no validation before executing the invite, meaning that once you load the link, you are in the organization. There is nothing that tells you, hey, do you want to join the organization? Are you sure you want to take this action? And this is problematic. I mean, usually it's a very best practice that you confirm the user actions before you actually execute them. The second thing is, and this is actually common, not just for invitation systems, but for other things as well, having associated functionality is atomic, meaning that, as you saw in the first round, there's two requests, one to send an invitation and another one to add the role. But those things, from the developer point of view, they should never be splitted. Like, I mean, they are one, they are just atomic. So what you should do is that you should have them in a single request. and the request should fail if you didn't provide a role or you didn't you provide an invalid role or whatever. So in essence, it shouldn't be that you split requests that you want to make atomic. Otherwise, you cannot guarantee it. I will use Burp Suite or any other proxy, drop the part of the request that I don't like, and that's it. Just to give you an example about how this can be exploited in other things, think about story views on multiple social media. Usually what happens is that there is a request to fetch the data, like I mean the story content, and then there is another request to set you as viewed. I have seen this multiple times. And the main problem here is you can just submit the request to fetch the data, get this story content, and drop the request that say that you viewed their story. And that's it. So it's not a problem. Those things should be atomic, but for some reason, they are developed mistakenly to be separated, more or less. The third thing is starting and ending in allowed states. What happened here is that we started, in the first round of this attack, we started by an invalid state, meaning that it was possible for me to create a state in which there is a user invited, it doesn't have a role. In the second round, it was possible for me to have a user without a role altogether. It should be that the user starts with a role, and then there is no possibility to remove the role unless I remove the user, and that's it. So you should start in a specific known state and end in a specific known state. Otherwise, if you do, by the way, this is actually pretty good from Snapchat point of view. They are doing a deny by default strategy. Like, I mean, whenever they see that this is an allowed state, they do a deny by default. But deny by default can be weaponized if you don't do it right. And I can't say this enough. Invitation should be bound to a user attribute. Again, because without binding the invitation to an email or the user ID, I was able to cause an invitation CSRF and force people to join my organization in this case. So that's it. Questions? Nobody have any curiosities? Doesn't seem to be the case. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming.